Stung by this brutal recession, businesses that have kept their doors open are still wary about adding workers. This week, I spent some time in Racine, Wisconsin, talking with folks who are doing their best to cope with the aftermath of a brutal recession. The terrorists that have taken over parts of Iraq have been especially brutal to religious minorities, rounding up families, executing men, enslaving women, and threatening the systematic destruction of an entire religious community, which would be genocide. We pay tribute to Americans who defended the people of South Korea, soldiered through the brutal battles of Vietnam, stood up to a tyrant in Desert Storm, and stopped ethnic cleansing in the Balkans. For over 5 years, brutal fighting laid waste to an entire continent.
On the other hand, if the adjustments are too onerous, too quick, not only is it brutal on those states, which are already having trouble, but politically it ends up being very difficult.
So this is for regulated electricity, basically.
Mostly around the electricity issue.
The images from Abu Ghraib and the brutal interrogation techniques made public long before I was president, the American people learned of actions taken in their name that bear no resemblance to the ideals that generations of Americans have fought for. Leaded in every mission America has given them, from toppling the Taliban to deposing a dictator in Iraq to battling brutal insurgencies. At the same time, forces trained for war have been called upon. A brutal boxer in Raging Bull. Even after the worst recession in generations, life in America is not even close to being as brutal as it was back then for so many. After 30 years of war, Afghanistan still faces daily challenges in delivering basic services and security to its people while confronting a brutal insurgency. Years before the statue was built, years before it would be seen by throngs of immigrants craning their necks skyward at the end of a long and brutal voyage, years before it would come to symbolize everything that we cherish, she imagined what it could mean. Others among you faced a brutal foe on a cold Korean peninsula. This was a brutal recession that we went through, the worst in our lifetimes. But combined with a brutal and devastating recession, these forces have also shaken the faith of the American people in the institutions of business and government. Not for the communities that are caught in the brutal grips of cartels and gangs, where the police are outgunned and too many people live in fear. And his brutal crackdown included the conviction and sentencing of presidential candidates who challenged him in the presidential election, and the repression and imprisonment of members of the free press, including one of the Polish press. In Iraq, he led our soldiers against a brutal insurgency.